see. There we go. Let's make sure it's recording. It is recording, so I can put my little special note down. Welcome to our All Team April call. We have Morgan Butler with us tonight, and I'm just going to introduce her. She's about to celebrate her 1-year coach anniversary. Just under 1 year. She started almost a year ago with 80-Day Obsession, and she had a killer transformation because she was a killer challenger. She committed to the program, she committed to herself, and she also, in the interim, committed to this business, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about that. But she is, in less than a year, she's 3-star qualifying, and her husband is Diamond. And she's got tons of coaches that are rocking this business as well because she treats this business like a business. It is not a hobby. It is not a discount job. It is a business, and she's treated it that way from day one. And I'm just going to let her take it away. Coming to you from Charlotte, North Carolina. Take yourself off of mute, and we'll all mute and give it to you. She's going to share some tactical tips on what she's doing to rock her business.
Hey everybody, thanks so much Lori for introducing me. I am honored to be speaking on this call. I feel like I have done nothing but the vital behaviors, and that is what has launched me forward in my journey. So this kind of might sound like a repeat of what we hear all the time, but I'm just here to share my story. I'm not training or anything like that. So just sit back and hear pretty much what I've done just to bring me this far. So I'm just gonna quickly start by sharing how I got started with Beachbody. Shout out to Haley Hendel, who is my upline coach. She is who introduced me to this business. She and I met over social media. She probably found me one day, followed me, and I followed her back because we were both pregnant with babies around the same time. And so I was like, oh, look at this girl, super fit, looks good, sharing lots of stuff. So I gave her a follow back, and I stalked her for a long time before I ever said yes to the opportunity. And I think she invited me a couple times, but I actually reached out to her and I was like, hey, I think I'm ready to get started with whatever it is you're doing. Let's do it. So that's how I got started. It was postpartum journey. I was 5 months postpartum. I had watched Haley do her entire transformation, and it really inspired me to get up and get started. So how I did what I did. I wrote down a couple little tips of what I think I did specifically that launched my business forward and kind of set me apart. So the first thing I did was I educated myself. I didn't wait for team calls. I didn't wait for my coach to train me, although Haley did a really good job onboarding me, training me, getting me set up strong. But I spent all of my time doing research, learning about this business, going on YouTube, listening to top team leaders, team trainings. I dove full force into PD, and I truly believe that is why I was able to grow my business to such a strong point that I am today, because I started off on a strong foot. I didn't wait 1 month, 2 months, 3 months to really dive into my business. I did what I had to do to educate myself. That was, I had a newborn baby. So that was me listening to PD in the shower. That 20 minutes that I had by myself, I would set my phone up right on my shower. I still do it all the time because sometimes you just got to do what you got to do sometimes when you find the time. And I really believe that educating myself was huge. My second thing that I did was I acted like a top coach, even when I felt like a total newbie. And I think that's huge because if we are not confident in our business and we are not confident in what we're doing, people can feel that. And so I tried my best, even when I felt like little Morgan Butler, who would want to talk to me? I am 40 pounds overweight because when I started as a coach, I didn't finish my transformation. I had signed up as a coach the day that I bought my challenge pack. And so I was new. I didn't know what I was talking about half the time, but kind of got to fake it till you make it. Not in a shady way. I know that's kind of a negative thing to say, but I just mean that I acted like a top coach. I posted a leaderboard in my team, even when it was just me and 4 people. Like, I think me and one other person were on the board weekly, but I didn't let that bring me down. I kept posting that leaderboard. I kept doing the things that made me feel like a top coach because I knew I wanted to be a top coach. I just wasn't there. And so I just acted like I was. So for instance, the way you speak about your business, speak about it in a confident way. So if you're an accountability group that has 200 plus people, go and claim on your stories that you are leading 200 plus people towards their health and fitness journey. That's not a lie. You know, you have your hand in that. And so to claim that and make it seem like, hey, this is a big deal. I'm leading hundreds of women into their journey. Like, use that, talk about that. So that's what I mean by talking like a top coach, even when you're not. Because you're playing a part. So you want to 10 times everything you do. Basically, I mean, like on your stories, like talk with excitement, 10 times your voice, your personality, the way you would be in person, 10 times your personality on your stories. That was, I think, something I learned from like a Bonnie Engel call. And when she said that, I was like, wow, that's such a great point, because things don't get translated the same as in person to on video. It's just not the same. Like, people can't really feel your emotions the way they can in person. And so you really have to 10 times everything you do, your voice, your excitement, your joy, really show people what a joy it is to be doing this and share that excitement. 3, one of the other things I did was I showed up for my fitness and nutrition journey every single day. And when I say every single day, I don't literally mean that, because there are days that I didn't want to do it. There were Sundays and Saturdays where I missed, but I was probably throughout my first 80 days, 95% on to completing it, almost at 100%, because I knew that I wanted to make this a business. In order to build a strong business, I had to get results, right? There's no other option. I can't not get results if I'm trying to grow a business where I'm going to lead other women. And so I think that is such a big deal. Being consistent, showing up, sharing your journey, being vulnerable. You know, I have cried so many times on my stories, and that's because we have to be vulnerable. If we are not sharing our journey and we are coming across as perfect, nobody's going to relate to us. And I know we all know that. And so as leaders, we are stepping out and saying, listen, I'm going to share my journey. I'm going to be vulnerable, but I'm going to do it knowing that I'm going to be helping hundreds of other women. And so for me, I did share those stories that I didn't want to share. I shared the things that were uncomfortable. I shared the fact that, you know, I was overweight and didn't feel good about myself. And so just being vulnerable and showing up is just so, so important. The 4th thing I did to really set me apart was I set an example and a culture of high achievement on my team from the start, because I made it known that we are a team of badass women who are here to change as many lives as possible, because our lives have been changed. I think the reason my team have been so successful is because everybody took that first program so seriously and everybody got amazing results. And so everybody was able to base their business off of, hey, I just transformed not only my body, but my mind, and I'm a new woman. And because we have all had that similar transformation, our goal is to help as many women as possible achieve that. And so to set that culture of high achievement, high performance, to let that be the culture of your team, that is how you move forward. So those are 4 of the things that I think I did that really set me apart, and I think are super, super important for new coaches or just coaches, no matter where you are in your journey. That should be an everyday thing. And those really do reflect the vital behaviors. Again, I'm not doing anything special. I'm not a crazy awesome person, although I like to think I am. Like, I am no different than every single woman sitting on the other side of this camera. The reason I have been able to do what I did is because I did the vital behaviors every day the past 365 days. Now, I have a couple tips that I'm going to give you guys. The first one is you have got to put the time in. I'm not going to lie. I work my butt off, literally. And I make sure I tell every single person that, whether they're about to join my team, on my team, I work my butt off. I take this seriously. As Lori said, this is a business for me. And so if you say you're a full-time coach, you should be putting in full-time hours. You should be putting in 35 to 40 hours a week if you want a full-time income. And same thing goes for a part-time coach. Like, if you're a part-time coach, you've got to put those part-time hours in. This business does not just happen. We make it happen. Another tip I have is set the tone high. So by that, I mean, make this job a big deal. Make it sound like a big deal to other people, because it is a big deal. We're helping women change their lives, men and women change around their lives. Like, speak to the power of that. Show people that this is a big deal. Show people this is an important job. This is something you are taking seriously, because again, it is. My next tip is consistency in sharing. If you are not sharing your health and fitness journey at least 5 days a week, then I personally believe, in my opinion, it's just not going to work out for you, because people aren't going to buy into someone who's not showing up for themselves. It's just as straight as it is. Like if I'm following you and every other day or every 3 days you're working out and putting a couple meals here and there, I'm not going to take you very seriously. That's not just me. That's probably a lot of people. So that's why it's so important to be consistent, because no one's going to take you seriously if you can't even take it seriously yourself. My next tip is to invite as many coaches as you do challengers. One of the reasons why I think my business has been started on such a strong note is because I started inviting to coaching probably within 4 weeks of me starting my program. I, again, educated myself to know that if I really wanted to grow a strong business with good income, that I had to grow my team. And so 4 weeks in, I was making my coach quest list. I was sitting down and having coffee dates in person with my warm market saying, hey, I'm only 4 weeks in. I really don't know what I'm doing, but I believe in where this is going and I want you to join me. Again, I was 4 weeks in. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I educated myself to be confident enough to speak to people and invite them into the opportunity. So I still to this day invite just as many coaches as I do challengers, if not more on the coach side. My next tip is master the conversation. If you don't feel confident in having a conversation with a future potential challenger, or someone who's interested in joining your team, you best to go educate yourself to know how to confidently speak in that conversation. Because if you don't feel confident in the conversation, they're going to know that. And so it is our duty to master the conversation, educate yourself on our products, on the challenge packs. That way you are their health and fitness genius. They want to be able to come to you and feel like you know everything. My next tip is you must be posting regularly on your Instagram stories and your Instagram feed. That is so important for just growing your brand in general. If you are not being consistent, again, I know I keep saying consistency, but that is the most important thing you could be doing. If you're not being consistent on showing up on your stories and on your feed, it's going to hurt you. There are some days where I am not consistent, unfortunately, and it's something I'm really trying to get better at. But I'll go 4 or 5 days sometimes without posting on my feed, and I see my page view drop by 3,000 views. That's a lot of views. Like, that's 3,000 people that I'm losing viewing my page because I'm not consistent in showing up. And so for me, that's an area I'm continuing to work on. But I truly believe that it's very important to be showing up on your stories and your feed. My next tip is become obsessed or be average. I just want to let that one sink in. Either be obsessed with this and be in love with Beachbody and the transformation, or just be average. It's as simple as that. And I went into this business knowing that, and I decided to be obsessed, and everybody here has to make that choice. There is no shortage of success. We are not in competition. We are all here to lift each other up and to help each other. And so going into it, knowing that, we are all here in a sisterhood is a great way to run with your business. In order for you to win, it doesn't mean that someone else has to lose. We're all here doing this together. So being obsessed is where it's at. One thing I wanted to share that I've been learning in my own personal development is there are 4 degrees of action. The first one is no action. Those are people who sign up and take no action at all. Second is reverse action. Those are people who sign up and then come up with every excuse as to why they can't make it happen for themselves. The third one is average action, which is where most people fall in. And then the fourth one is massive action, which is where you will stop at nothing to reach your goals. And that is where I found myself lying. And so I really want you to look at your business and sit back and truly have an honest conversation with yourself about where you fall. Because that is going to launch you forward in your business. If you can say that you want to have massive action and do whatever you can to launch this business forward. That's about all I had prepared. Again, I just kind of wanted to share my story and share with you guys what I did in my business and some tips. So I would love to open the floor for some questions. I see the chat is going off, so I can see what these questions are in the chat. How am I checking my views? So I switched over to a business Instagram. Looks like someone answered that already. But yeah, my views go up and down depending on my consistency. And to drop 3,000 views, like, ouch, that is hurtful. When I see that drop, it does not feel good. Let's see. Do you have to have a Facebook page? Yes, you do. Yep. So resources for mastering the conversation. My best advice is go on YouTube, and whatever area of the business you feel not confident in, type that topic into YouTube, end it with Beachbody, and there's going to be Melanie Mitcher's video, Lindsay Matway's video, who knows, maybe even Lori Miggins' video will pop up, and Bonnie Engel, you know what I mean? Like, whatever area you feel like you need to learn in, it's on YouTube. Someone's done it already. I think that was all the questions. Again, I'm just here doing the vital behaviors. I made the decision that I was going to go all in, and I didn't let anything stop me. It hasn't been easy. There are big struggles. There are days where I have cried and been angry and have wanted to quit. Lots of days like that, actually. But it's the people who are able to pull themselves back up and continue to move forward that are going to be successful. The people who don't give up and don't quit on themselves are the ones who make it in this business. And so I just decided that I wasn't going to give up because I was confident in where I could take this, and I'm not going to stop until I reach my goals. How do I handle the no's when inviting? Listen, I try to hit 100 no's a week. That's like my goal. So I take a no as a not right now. A no is just a no. That's something that in this business we all deal with. So having thick skin and just knowing that a no means not right now is the best way to handle the no's. Share a quick day in the life as a full-time coach and how you block out your days. So I am very intentional about my time. I set up specific things that I do for my business at specific times of day. So for instance, like when I first wake up, it's PD and responding to my DMs. After I wake my baby up and get her playing, then it's checking emails and sending invites. So I have a very structured way as to how I knock out all of my business tasks. That way I'm not leaving anything to last minute, and I'm making sure I'm getting everything done. PD is personal development. Trying to grow a business in photography as well and struggling with time management. Yeah, I could imagine that being hard. There are a lot of people on this call who probably work full-time and balance this as part-time, and that's where the hustle just comes in. You have to decide you either want it or you don't. And if you want it, then there are going to be nights that you stay up till 11 o'clock at night responding to emails or whatever it is that you got to do, but that's where the hustle comes in. If you want to make it happen, you have to put in the time. And if it's not important enough to you, then you're just not going to put in the time, and that's that. So just the hustle. Got to put it in.
All right, there's a few other questions that were a little bit further back. Who are you inviting to coaching? Warm market, ?
I do reach out to warm market. I have not yet reached out to cold. Well, I shouldn't say not yet reached out to cold market. I have done it, but I find more success right now in just reaching out to my warm market. So what I'll do is I'll go through my Facebook friends, which, Facebook, there's friends from like years and years ago, and I'll just go through the list, and I'll write down like, oh, wow, this woman would be amazing for this. I'm going to reach out to her at some point. So I keep an ongoing list as I'm just scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through Instagram of girls that I want to invite at some point.
Do you recommend posting every day, even if it's not about fitness, but maybe mom life?
Yes, 100%, because actually I think it's more important. It's very important to include it all, because people are not buying a product. People are buying you. The women who are coming to me because they relate on to me with every level of where I'm at in some sort of way. Everybody's different, but in some sort of way they relate to me. So I think it's important to share my, the quirky things that I like, and share stuff about my husband and share stuff about my family, because again, people want to fall in love with me, not just what I'm doing. And so I think it's really important to pick 5 things that represent your brand, whether it's motherhood, health and fitness, loving to cook, motivational, whatever. Like find 5 things that represent you and your personal brand, and everything you put out should represent one of those 5 things.
Awesome. I've been in a couple of months, but have no concentrated at all on growing or anything. Is there still a way to jump in and to meet goals?
For sure. If you are not seeing growth in your Instagram page, it's because you are not working hard enough. And I say that, I swear, in the nicest way possible, because it is possible to grow a following. Honestly, I take a lot of time in this, and I do the 5-3-1 method, and it is very time consuming, but I know that that is good time being put into my business. So the 5-3-1 method is you go to your favorite blogger or someone who's got a lot of followers, go to their Instagram page, click on one of their pictures, look at the people who are engaging with their posts, whether that's who's liking their pictures or commenting on their pictures. I'll go click on their page because I'm assuming me and that woman have something in common if we both enjoy following that blogger. And then I'll go like 5 photos, comment on 3 of them, and either send her a message and follow her or just follow her. And I promise you guys that will most likely guarantee a follow back if you're putting effort into your own page as well. It goes both ways. But I believe that saying that you can't grow your following, you can grow your following. Everybody here can grow your following. Do I keep a list of 5-3-1? I'm not sure what that means. Maybe you mean like who I'm doing that to, and if that's what your question is, I don't keep a list. I just cross my fingers that they're going to follow me back.
Let's see. There was a couple more. Are your invites all scripted?
Yes and no. I have a general basic information that I want to send to everybody, but I do customize it to that person.
I think that's important. I feel like the market is oversaturated right now with so many skinny teas and quick fixes. How do you find followers that are maybe not already bombarded with everything else?
Well, I truly believe that what we have does not compare to skinny teas and quick fixes, and I think everybody realizes that. I talk a lot about how I don't want a quick fix. You know, I want to put the hard work in to have a sustainable lifestyle. I think sustainability is the most important thing in the health and fitness arena, and it's a thing that people are missing. And so just preaching the importance of fueling your body and getting movement and exercise in is the best way for us to get one over on these skinny teas and all of that stuff that does not work.
And why we are still here 20 years later. Love it. Advice for 40-somethings on IG. Hey, now, market seems a little different, not quite as savvy.
Maybe, but I also think that there are 40-year-old women looking for other 40-year-old women to be inspired by. And so, you know, maybe they're not as savvy. Maybe they're not making their Instagrams pretty and they're not posting as much. But that doesn't mean they're not looking for someone to be influenced by and to be following. And so I would say that's almost better for you because, you know, yeah, Lori says, I'm 42. Yeah, just because they're not as savvy doesn't mean that they don't want someone to look up to. And so that's where you come in. Show them what looks good. Show them how to do the Instagram thing.
Love that answer. I don't know off the bat, but I've got a bunch of my own people that I graduated with and got a couple 50-year-olds even.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think age matters. It's all how you present yourself because I still attract the 25-year-olds too. So it's, you know, like Morgan said, like just 10x your personality and you'll attract all the masses.
Yeah, and Jenny just said a good comment too. Jenny said, for 40 plus, I think your feed is important as stories. Like that might be true. Maybe the 40 plus women aren't spending as much time on stories as maybe they do just scrolling. So maybe, you know, that might be a good point. Maybe putting more focus in that feed. It could be what it's at.
All right. Any other questions? I love a few things about what Morgan said, especially I think the theme of what she said was consistency. I think that's so important in anything in life, especially this Beachbody coaching thing. I immediately thought of your marriage. Like if you only gave your husband like 4 days a week and the other 3 you were like, nope, not giving you any of my attention today, how would that work? How would that marriage work? So this Beachbody coaching thing is the same thing. Like you have to show up every single day, 24/7. And then I thought about parenting too. Like you have a kid, you can't just not be a parent that day because you don't feel like it. It's the same thing with coaching, like consistency. Your people are going to watch you even on, the days that you're sick, or, you have a spider bite on your ankle. You figure it out. You can't do a workout, so you do the freaking reset and you do yoga. Like, we have tools for everything. So there's no excuses. Like Morgan said with her 4 degrees, like, you can choose to take no action, reverse action, of average action, or massive action. Like, that is your choice. You're going to take massive action. You're going to see massive results, as Morgan has seen. What else did I like that you said? I loved your coach quest list. I never heard it called that. I've always heard dream team. I love that. Coach quest list. Who do you want on your team? Envision it. Write them down and then go after them.
Yeah, another note that I just want to add to that is I rewrite my goals every 3 days, because I truly believe in the power of seeing your goals, writing your goals, and that's how you make them happen. I have a second monitor here, and you can see I have these little notes here. Those are my goals that I rewrite every 3 days, because they're right in front of me, and if I see what I want to achieve, I'm going to make it happen. And so I think not only setting goals, but putting your goals in front of you, rewriting them as often as possible, I think is huge.
Where'd you come up with the 3 days? Just curious.
That's just, I don't know.
I love it.
Just keeping it fresh. Totally random.
I love it. All right. Any other questions in the chat? I was just looking.
Can I jump in for 1 second, Lori?
Yes.
So Morgan, I think one of the things that you have such great energy, and I think that projects outward too. And I said that to Lori because, like you said, you acted like a top coach before you even knew what you were doing, but that's your energy, right? Like, your energy is what attracts people. If it's low, if it's high, like, you've got to really, you don't have to fake that, but you just have to be an excited person. Like, if what you're doing every day is not exciting you, it's probably not going to excite somebody that's reading it or listening to it, right? But the other thing too, Morgan, that I think is really important to point out is that and maybe I'm wrong in this, but I don't think that at any point in your journey from day one, you believed that you couldn't be successful at this, meaning you couldn't change your life through this health and fitness journey, that you couldn't extend your hand to maybe just one other mama to make her feel as great as Haley had helped you feel, right? Like, I don't think you ever believed that you couldn't do this. And that is such an important piece, you guys, because everything rises and falls on belief. If you are wavering on your belief in our tools, in the systems, in yourself, you guys, people see right through that. So you've got to really kind of readjust the sails there. And maybe I'm wrong, Morgan, but your confidence is there. Like, you're successful because you didn't believe you wouldn't be successful with
right.
it.
And I think that has to go back to the education, because you guys, when I tell y'all I sat on YouTube for probably about 20 hours a week doing trainings, like, that's how I got this confidence. I didn't just automatically become confident. I had to do the education to really be able to say, like, I'm going to be successful. I have watched thousands of people's stories of how they did X, Y, and Z and they got successful. And so if you really educate yourself, I think that's huge. And another thing that I want to mention real quick is I am not health and fitness obsessed. I do not love working out. Like, I work out because I know it makes me feel good, and now it's my business. But I don't want anybody to think like that you have to be obsessed with fitness or you have to be obsessed with it, because honestly, my goal is working out 5 days a week. I never work out on Sundays. I refuse. And Saturdays, I work out on Saturdays when it's a part of my program that I'm following. And so you don't have to be obsessed with working out. You don't have to love it. You have to be committed.
I love that. For the record, I hate leg day. I am not obsessed with working out either. But once I start, I love it, and I love what it does for me. Exactly what Morgan said. But I think that success always starts with struggle. I was actually listening to those of you that are on the Flawless Empire. We were invited to this amazing group that Lindsay Matway is putting on, and she had for the Diamonds and Above, Kim and Jamie Fitzpatrick spoke on Friday. And Jamie Fitzpatrick talked about exactly what Morgan said her first tip was, educating herself. When Jamie Fitzpatrick took this job seriously, he went out and YouTubed, Googled. He didn't ask his coach, Miguel, the top coach in Canada. He didn't ask Miguel's coach, Lindsay Matway, a top coach in the US. He sought out information himself. He trained himself, YouTubed himself. And then when his wife, Kim, decided to leave the corporate world and coach also, he didn't really help her. She educated herself. She did all the things, and now she is top coach in Canada. So it doesn't matter what team you're on. Lindsay Matway didn't give her that success. I didn't give Morgan the success. Haley didn't give. Morgan took the reins of her business, and she decided to run with it. We all have the exact same tools. Every single thing is in our coach online office. Maybe some coaches like to make pretty PDFs and visuals and booklets to print out. None of that is necessary. It may help, it may guide you, but you have to do the work. Just like in college, there's a syllabus, you know what's expected, you show up for class, you do all the work, you pay the money for that class. You better show up and get that good grade. Some of us got this for free. Some of us paid $40. Some of us paid $160 for a challenge pack. We paid, we invested, show up and do the work, right? That's what I'm getting. I'm getting 3 things from Morgan. Transformation is key. Get a freaking transformation. Do a program. Consistency and belief. Like, those are the 3 things that Morgan exudes, all of those things. And if you guys want this business, like she said, she's not special. She is special. You're special. That's it. I mean, I love this call. So high energy, so many great tips that you guys can share. I will upload this to YouTube. If anyone has any last questions, I think, did you guys look at the chat one last time? I think.
Yeah.
I see a few things on 531. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So there's a couple of questions about 531. So I don't know if we want to just have you clarify that quickly. When you're doing 531, you do that all at once, correct? Like 5.
Yes. So the purpose of doing that is so when someone pulls up their Instagram notifications, all they see is Morgan Butler Fit. They don't see notifications from anybody else. And then they're like, oh, wow, let's click on this person and see. So yes, you want to do it all at once. That way you flood their notifications. And I saw another question regarding that was, how many people do I shoot for? So I don't necessarily shoot for a number of people. I base it off a set amount of time. So I spend 30 minutes at some point in my day doing that for 30 minutes straight. Or 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever time you have to put into it.
I love it. All right. I see a couple questions that you could probably YouTube, like how to make your pictures and videos more visibly appealing. We've talked about Lightroom. We've talked about a lot of other things on other calls. I would definitely YouTube those kind of questions. Morgan, what's your favorite PD and what are you reading right now?
So I am reading a book called, God, what's it called? Man, I just bought it today and I'm 30 minutes. Oh, Be Average or Be Obsessed. My corporate sponsor actually just recommended it to me and I just finished chapter 1 and it is so good. Be average or be obsessed or be average. I think it's really going to be helpful for me in my journey.
Is that Gary Cardone? Is that the 10X rule guy? Yeah.
Yep, same guy from 10X.
So is that your favorite too?
Favorite is High Performance Habits, hands down.
So good.
Yep, so good.
All right, quick raise of hands. Who's going to Summit? Summit. We've got 4 pages to look at. Look at all those hands. It's not too late to get your ticket. And we have plenty of rooms and beds and couches and things, so don't use that as an excuse. Okay, raise your hand if you went to Super Saturday in person or virtually. Super Saturday, live events, guys, are super important. All right. I just wanted to end with our hands up and excited. Thank you to Morgan. Give her some love in the chat. Just go out and do all the things. Like she said, the more you put in, the more you get out. Hard work yields amazing results and amazing success. So with that, thank you, Morgan. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
Thanks, Morgan.
Yeah, see you guys.